Almost got a mini heart attack. So yeah, yes, hello everybody, welcome back. PieCover here, Toxic Talk. I thought I left my phone, so I wouldn't go back pick it up anyway. But it's just like I would miss doing a Toxic Talk today, but no, I got you guys covered. Today, let's talk about the future of Bitcoin and the money, right? And why it's so important to, make sure that we, control our mind, control what we can control, right? Not trying to waste time on things we cannot control. So what can we control? Basically, we can control our own mind, our own thinking. We can control our own environment, people we interact with. We can try to create our friends or families, and you can try tell them about Bitcoin, educate people about Bitcoin. That's how I look at the future. When I look at the future, I'm not trying to control things that I cannot control, that I know I cannot control. It's a lost cause, right? Like, why would I go and try to control things I can't control, right? There's nothing smart about that. It's 10 times better if I can just focus on things I can control. This is why people are so depressed and stressed, because they're trying to focus on like things like 10,000 miles away, right? Why would you worry about things that's happening like all the way in Ukraine if you're not even close there, right? So things that are happening like so many, like 10,000 miles away, you're probably never gonna visit those places in your entire life, right? So those are the things, like, people are worried about like what's happening in the interstellar, like the space, in Mars, right? All those things, those are trying to get you out of your focus and your day-to-day life and your reality, so that you can lose focus and you can there's an agenda to everything, right? Every YouTube video, everything, every mainstream media, there's an agenda. They want you to think about something, they want you to say, they want you to do something, right? So every time you see something, right, there's something behind it. Like advertisement, you visit that website, and all of a sudden they're advertising you something that you was talking about, right? So it's all controlled, right? There's nothing that real about it. They're just controlling the narrative and the masses, right? So now when I say future of Bitcoin, basically I mean how us as a community. I often look at Bitcoin as a massive country in cyberspace, and this country is so diverse and spread out all over the world, right? So it's not like those ancient countries, like you have like a nationality, you just condemn to that nationality, and you have to be specifically using that specific currency and all those things. But you are basically in that international country where this is like the ultimate citadel, right? Where you're not subject to one specific politician, right? to what they say. Like, I don't remember the last time I listened to what the politician in my jurisdiction say. I don't care. I don't know who's the deputy or prime. I don't care about those things, like president or anything. I don't really care. I don't listen to them. I don't give a f what they think, because I'm no longer subject to their influence on my money. You understand? So this is the transformation and the future I see, in the future where you're not worried that much about the politician. And since my my young age, I always struggle with politicians not keeping their words and all, like lying and do all the bad things and all the bad things going on in society. And I was always anxious about that. And every time I try to go for this person, that person, and I get, you get your heart broken, and then they do the opposite of what they say. Now I get the chance to fire all those imbeciles with the money I choose, right? By just opting in a different money. I opt out of the system of control to a system where no one can control me. So I was talking about this ultimate citadel, like spread out all over the world. The Bitcoin country, decentralized, no president, no nationality. It's basically all over the world. When I see Bitcoiner, I know you my brother, and I know you my sister, and I'm same to you, and I want you to succeed, and you want me to succeed. In my own country, people don't want me to succeed. If I succeed, they want to take me down, because the success is just for myself. But when I succeed in Bitcoin, the success is for everyone using the Bitcoin money, using BTC, right, to denominate their wealth. So this, when you replicate that when you play this out in terms of nation states, and so it starts to be interesting, because now instead of having enemies, now you have friends. Country friends become friends, because they are self-interested, right? You see, when the invention of nuclear, right, prevent us to go like in nuclear wars for years. Regardless, we had this fiat money printing, right, that unlimitedly can fund war. But with the nuclear invention of that thing that can cause the end of the world, we ended up not going into war. But the invention of Bitcoin, the technology, this breakthrough, it's probably, hopefully, gonna suspend that, because it's gonna turn the world into a loving world, into a world that cares of each other. Everybody become lovings instead of haters, because we all benefit, right? That doesn't mean I have to wake up early in the morning and work my butt off and be tired at the end of the day. I still have to do those things, right? I have to show the proof of work, and that's honesty, right? That keep us in peace, right? Being able to work, show the proof of work, and be honest. Not being able to steal. That's what will keep us honest. But if anybody can steal, then there's an incentive to become so powerful and with so much gun, so you can overtake the weak. So that's the thing here. It's like, if anybody can have their money protected in the cyberspace, disconnected to very far away from Earth, so nobody can touch, then there's no incentive for somebody to build a big army to go after your money, to go after your wealth. right? Because they know they won't be able to touch it, to see it, to find it. So that's a breakthrough, and that's a future I look at, and that's a future I see, and that's a benefit I think Bitcoin will bring. And yeah, so I'm gonna go, guys, as you know. So this was PieCover, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Tuesday, very very amazing, nice Tuesday, and yesterday I had a nice podcast as well. You could check that out as well. I talked about the 800,000 block height and halving coming up. And I really love having you listening, guys. If you find value, I mean, if you're listening to the end of this podcast, then you really into that, Bitcoin thing, and you're really interested, and you really like my, what I'm doing here. Usually, I do this podcast for myself. I listen to them like at the end the whole thing. I listen to them multiple times sometimes because I like them. I really like. I just do it for myself, uniquely. But I see a lot of people find value into them. I'm very grateful for that. And if you do, I hope you just enjoy them. That's it. And as you know, as usual, um, there's no nothing you need to give back in return. I mean, sometimes if you find value, I just say, okay, hey, you can send this out, but it's not necessary. That's all I think. I think that's what I can contribute into that world, a world where, you know, nobody cares, right? Nobody cares in that world, right? So at least, I find some people, right? A group of people who cares, right? Like Bitcoiners, I never saw like people care so much before Bitcoiners, right? So for the first time, I meet a bunch of people online, even by podcast or something like that, who really care, who really um, give a F, about the future, about the humanity, and all the negative things that are happening, right? So I find it interesting, and I find it, hey, let me contribute to that thing and see how I can um, make this come true. You would say, hey, well, a lot of people are in it for the money, and just, yeah, when you first started, you were like, okay, hey, this is for the money, let's just get rich here, make money. But when you realize it's not about that, it's more about maintaining your purchasing power, because when you go in a revolution, you need to be able to sustain yourself. You need to maintain your purchasing power, right? If you maintain your purchasing power, then you can outstand, you can last as long as possible, right? And as I always say, the purchasing power is it's the ultimate power, because your purchasing power, you can buy every other power, even superpowers. That's why I posted the other day a NOSTR. It's like, I know I'm getting out of subject here, but it's what it is. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna go. I'll leave that for another podcast. This was PieCover. I'll see you again in the next Toxic Talk. Thank you.